Welcome back to Cameo with Nevin, Webster, the podcast. This episode, I actually met in person with Zach. It kind of made me get out of my shell, made me come out from hiding behind my computer and actually interact with the community, which is part of the reason why I started this project. And hopefully the quality of the conversation and the sound is improved, as I did try something different to improve the quality of the recording. And hopefully this becomes the new standard for my podcast. But now let's cameo with Zach Abney. Hey, Zach, thank you once again for meeting with me. If my listeners aren't familiar with your work, they might see you on Instagram as Zach Abney Art without the H. I'm here in your studio, which is where you obviously paint a lot, because there's a lot of paintings all over the place, but they might be more familiar with your work at the Art Battle as shown on your Insta stories. Can you tell me a little bit about Art Battle?
Yeah, so Art Battle is actually it's a pretty cool event put on at CJ's nightclub. Spiky Mike and Messy Jenny from Forecast Studio are actually the two people that are putting it on in Kamloops. And it's a pretty interesting event. Typically the format is you have 5 or 6 painters in each round, and there's 3 rounds. And the painters are painting without any kind of a reference image. They don't have any suggested theme or anything like that. They just sort of have to paint what's inside of their head. They get 20 minutes. They are supplied paint, but they have to bring their own brushes or use their fingers or whatever they want to paint. And at the end of it, the audience is actually the one that does the voting to decide whose painting they like the most and to see who should move on to the next round. When the audience is there, basically what they're doing is they're sort of moving in this, we call it a tornado around the painters. So the painters are all painting with the music playing in the middle of the room, and it's upbeat. Mike does a really good job of sort of hyping the audience up and getting everybody really excited about the event. And they just sort of circle around the painters, and they're absolutely welcome to interact with the people that are painting. I've had a lot of people come up and tell me that they like my painting, or tell me they hate my painting, or
They hate your painting.
well, nobody's told me that they hate my painting, but it's a pretty cool way to get the audience sort of participating with the painters. So
Is there regular folk like myself taking part? How's that all work? If someone's listening and they're interested in joining Art Battle, where do they go?
it's a good mixture sort of between a lot of amateurs and people that don't normally paint, people that do quite a bit of painting. The application process is pretty straightforward. You just go on to artbattle.com or artbattle.ca. You just find the Art Battle that's nearest to you and sign up. I believe the next one that's coming up in Kamloops is actually going to be an all-female event. So if you're a lady and you enjoy painting, or you just want to try something that's a little bit different, I'd suggest doing that, because it is a good time. I don't think that you'll regret it.
Is it stressful at all to have someone watching you like get into your creative process?
Yeah, you know what? It's I think it's kind of like going to a nude beach. There's going to be some people that are extremely comfortable with it, and there's going to be other people that are probably never going to be comfortable with it. It doesn't matter how many times they go. So some people do it for the thrill, and some people are just comfortable with it.
You seem to have a motif, a particular style painting. Where does that come from? What's your background in terms of, is it education or art literacy?
Yeah, no. So when I first started painting, I was about 4 or 5 years old, and the first paintings I sort of came in contact with were Norman Rockwell prints and Robert Bateman wildlife paintings. That was sort of the first thing that really interested me. And then I guess as the years went on, I sort of started to develop my own style a little bit. I like using a lot of these sort of, in sort of intense lighting situations and atmospheric effects and different things like that. I did go to Emily Carr for a while, for about 3 years there, and I did some studying there. After the first art battle I participated in, Jesse from the studio we're at right now, Studio 322, he reached out to me and suggested that I join the studio because he thought that we were a great fit, and we just got on like a house on fire right away. So yeah, it's been really good, and I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of really cool people, and they've helped me sort of develop my style a little bit. So
Can you tell me about some of the other people you share this space with? It's obviously it's a different place. It's very well put together, but also you can see the differences in styles, kind of making it all up into one collective. Who is Studio 322?
So Studio 322 that's the name of the studio. It's founded by Common Sound. So Common Sound, DJ and promotional company that Jesse and Ian run out of the studio. So they do a lot of wedding DJ events and that sort of thing. They did a fashion show a week ago now, and they do really well with that. And then Jesse also has Common Initiative, so that's a non-for-profit thing that he also does on the side. Then we have Nick Kapustin. He's a photographer that's in our studio here. He's actually been in the studio longer than I have. He's an absolutely incredible landscape and portrait photographer, and he does wedding photography and all kinds of stuff. He can do these really nice double exposures that they just look amazing. And then the newest guy in the studio is Luis Gomez. So he's our he's a Mexican sensation, and you can see his desk over there is decorated with candy skulls and all kinds of cool goodies right now. So he's just sort of in those starting stages of putting his own thing together, and we're excited to see what he does. Anna Langford is actually the one that she runs that Common Initiatives non-for-profit for Jesse. Just because he keeps his hands full. He also does photography, so he also works under the name Avenue Shooter, doing photography out of the space as well.
And the whole space, it's downtown. How does the downtown core kind of feed into who Studio 322 is?
Personally, I kind of like where we're stuck right now. I think that it's a really, really good location for us. I mean, we have so much support from the other businesses that are surrounding us, so there's Pizza Pie that's basically right next door. They're fantastic. They put on events and let us put all of our work up on the walls there.
So if someone isn't familiar with your work, they should go get a pizza.
Yeah, go grab a slice of pizza. Kelly Wright has some work up on the walls there as well. I think Nick has a couple photographs up there, and there should be some other artwork there as well. Actually, I believe the owner might have some work up on the walls too.
Obviously, you spend a lot of time with a paintbrush in your hand. Being somewhat creative myself, I understand it can take a toll. How do you get away? What's your break?
Well, I mean, my break used to be a coffee and a cigarette, but now my new break is tying my running shoes on, going for a little trail run there. That's something that we have in common.
And so, where's your main place of training here in town?
I like running up Kenna Cartwright quite a bit. I'll just do repeats going up to the top. Peterson Creek is really nice too. And I mean, you and I went there. There's a whole bunch of your Strava routes there where you got to try and beat the time. So I don't know how you guys do it. I couldn't even roll down the hill that quickly.
So you're running a lot. You're painting. You're all over Kamloops in a variety of different fields. What's something that you want to highlight to our listeners here?
It kind of blew me away when I first got here. Just the support that there is for young artists and just like young makers, I guess is the best way to put it. Even if you're not an artist and you just sort of enjoy, putting things together with your hands or coding or programming or any of that sort of stuff. Even if you haven't done it before and you just want to get into it, there's so much support for people that just get into things and get their hands dirty in town here, and I think that's a really important thing.
Well, you hosted the Red Paint Room yesterday, which is your maker workshop. What if someone wants to come to one of your Red Paint Rooms, what do they expect? What are they going to do? What are they going to learn?
Yeah, at the Red Room Paint Nights, basically what we do is I'll have a painting that I teach everybody how to do, and I just kind of take them through the process step by step until everybody has something that they're relatively happy with at the end of the night. I can't guarantee it's always going to look exactly the same as the painting that we're working as a reference, but I'd say most of the time everybody's pretty happy with the end result. So
I'm an Instagram creep. I'll be honest. And so what sort of hashtags, local hashtags, are you creeping to find out other makers, or who are you looking for when you are creeping Instagram?
Oh man, there's a lot of people that have sort of gotten into there's one girl in town. I believe her her Instagram name is Naked Gypsy. She sells.
She's vintage clothing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really, really cool stuff that she does. I know there's a few other people that really get into it, and do the same sort of thing. There's tons and tons of people that are into painting in town. There's Stace DeWolf. He's just a amazing sort of cubist painter. There's so many talented photographers, Stacey Corlo and Rosalind and just all these people. If you go on Instagram and just have a look, I'm sure it won't be too hard for you to find them. And it's definitely worth checking those guys out.
Okay, cool. And where can people find you? What's the easiest place to come across your art aside from Pizza Pie?
Yeah, no, I'd say Facebook or Instagram probably. You can find me at Zach Abney Art, so it's Zach without the H at the end.
Well, Zach, thank you for chatting with me today, and I hope our listeners check out your work, the art battle, or eventually, maybe seeing the Louvre. Is that the grand goal? Where's the grand goal? Where do you want to see? Where do you want to see your art?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I just really any gallery at all, I'd be pretty happy to see my artwork up. So, yeah. Let's make it happen.
This episode of Cameo with Nevin Webster is brought to you by Supplement King. When I first walked into Supplement King, I had one very simple question. What's going to help me focus? And the gentleman there pointed me to the product that I'm still drinking weeks later. I drink it for hydration, focus, and a whole bunch of other reasons. And really, he just helped me find the right product for me, allowing me to cut through all of the other things on the wall to just focus on what my body needs. And if you want to figure out what works for you, go on down. Talk with them. They'd love to chat with you, and they'll help you find a product that works for you. And there you have it. There is our last episode for launch. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday for a new episode of Cameo with Nevin Webster.